Okay, today we'll be talking about Kyle Shanahan and his offensive scheme. He started calling plays and running an offense back in 2010 with the Washington Redskins, where his father Mike Shanahan was the head coach. Kyle's scheme is heavily influenced from his father's offense, stylized the Shanahan offense as far as back as the early 90s, which heavily relies on the zone read run scheme followed by the play action. However, Kyle has added his own twist to his father's scheme by integrating heavy amounts of preset motion to help disguise the play and undress the defense's coverage. As much of a film junkie as I am, there's no one I enjoy watching film on more than Kyle's offense. The play designs he creates are truly one of a kind, and he's able to recognize his own tendencies and pivot off of a certain play design to trick defenses when they expect a certain play. We are going to break down his offensive scheme and show how he's becoming one of the most creative minds in modern football. You can't discuss the Shanahan offense without beginning with the wide zone run. This is a staple in the offense, and one that's becoming more often used in today's offense by other teams. I've discussed the zone read offense in more detail in separate videos that I will link below, but the premise of a zone run is the offensive lineman taking a sidestep towards the play side. The offensive lineman on the back of the run must secure the block and allow the forward lineman to move up to the second level. The running back's role is to make a decision and cut to where the offensive lineman has the best leverage. There are 3 cuts and reads a running back can make, beginning from the outside working in: bounce, bang, and bend. Versus the Bears' heavy defensive front, Shanahan is going to call a wide zone toss to the left with Kyle Juszczyk leading the block for Elijah Mitchell. When Mitchell receives the toss, he can see 36 coming down hard to prevent the bounce out cut. His bend is also not open due to the edge rusher coming unopposed since there was no flash block. The best read will be the bang, since Juszczyk will be kicking out the defender in that gap, causing it to open for Mitchell to shoot through for a huge gain. Shanahan will often play off of the zone run by, instead of doing a handoff, perform a toss. This allows the running back to have more speed coming out of the starting position and more vision as to where he can make his cut. Against the Rams, the Niners' opening 2 plays were wide zone tosses, with a lead blocker coming from a man in motion to help kick out the defender in the outside lane. Shanahan would continue to call this run play throughout the drive, which actually was a 20-play, 88-yard touchdown drive, something that was stunning to watch. On the 16th play, when the Rams had seen the wide toss plenty, Shanahan calls an inside toss, not 2 plays that you often see together in football. Playing off of his tendency of going wide on a toss and catching the Rams overextending wide, left space to go up the middle and complete the first down. I really like this play here against the Packers on the goal line, and it shows what the future of the Niners run game can be with rookie Trey Lance. Lance subbed in for Garoppolo on this 4th down. It's the last play before halftime, so the Niners have to get into the end zone or they will come up empty. The play call is going to be a quarterback power out to the left, with the left tackle Trent Williams pulling as the lead blocker. They have 3 receivers on the right to pull more defenders to the weak side, and have Sermon come out in motion, clearing the way for Lance. Kittle is going to start the play by doing what's called a crack block on the defensive end to set the edge for Lance, and with Trent pulling, the only guy to beat is the cornerback, who has to face Hall of Famer Trent Williams. He has got to be saying to himself, I did not sign up for this. My job is to guard receivers, not take on linemen in the open field. After Williams banishes him to the shadow realm, Lance is able to outpace the Sam linebacker and get into the end zone for the touchdown and not go into halftime empty-handed. And that block was something awesome to watch.
What the hell's going on out here?
Another aspect of the Niners' run game is the use of the fullback, which seems like a unicorn now in the modern offense. But Shanahan uses Juszczyk to his fullest ability, whether it's having him block, run routes, or even run the ball himself. We're going to break down 2 plays on the same drive that shows just how Shanahan likes to use his fullback. This first play has the Niners lined up in an I formation with a run to the right. Here, Juszczyk will be the lead block for Elijah Mitchell to block the linebacker who is filling in his gap, leading to a substantial gain. Later in that same drive, Shanahan, now knowing the Colts have seen Juszczyk be a lead block, has him run a split flow block. Split flow is where the fullback will lead in the opposite direction of the running back. This now has the Colts linebackers flowing to the right, away from the play side, leaving a bend cut wide open for Elijah Mitchell to run through and ultimately lead to a touchdown. A pivot off of a previous run play that takes advantage of the defense and leads to a score. When you can run the rock as effectively as the Niners do, this leaves the option for the play action to create space in the secondary and gash the defense for large gains. The play action play the Niners run the most is called the Yankee concept, one that is often used in the NFL due to how effective it can be to put the defense in conflict. The Yankee concept consists of the X receiver running a go route to pull or yank the corner and the safety up and away from the crossing receiver on the backside. If the linebackers bite on the play action, this will often have the crossing route open behind the linebackers and can lead to a large gain. Look at this play by the linebackers. After biting on the play action, the linebacker begins to backpedal into his zone. This shows a lack of discipline by the linebacker, since they are taught to turn their entire body and identify the crosser so they can deflect the incoming throw. Deebo Samuel is crossing right behind 53, but since he was backpedaling and unaware of where the crosser was, Garoppolo was able to fit the ball past him and complete it for the first down. I like this play by Garoppolo later in the game. This flood concept here, with a sail route, crossing route, and pivot, shows the progression will be a high to low read. His progression will work from the top to the bottom. While rolling out, Garoppolo reads that the sail route will be open on the top, but to not prevent the corner from moving up, he pump fakes to Deebo to have the corner drop down and leave his receiver open for a catch. Great job by Garoppolo to read the defense and make a play to free up his receiver on this play.
He throws laser beams every time. Nick, geez, relax.
If you have watched the Niners play on any Sunday for the last 5 years, you will notice that on almost every offensive play, there will be some type of motion pre-snap. The Niners lead the league in pre-snap motion this season, having 70% of their plays with some type of motion. I've shown the advantages of running pre-snap motion from a run or a pass play in a previous video, so today I will go over what are the different types of motion and their purpose. Here is an example of a jet motion, which is classified as motion that when the ball is snapped, the player is in front of the quarterback, which gives the option of a handoff or a toss pass. This can result in the player in motion having already begun running with the ball to hopefully outpace the defense on the edge. There is also fly motion, which is when the player in motion is past the quarterback when the ball is snapped, which can cause the defense to hesitate as he crosses the quarterback in what may have been a quick snap and handoff. Then there is orbit and glide motion, which we will talk about for a few plays here against the Packers. These subsequent plays that Shanahan calls just shows his peak play calling skills and how to set up a certain play from previous play designs. The first play, Deebo Samuel will run a glide motion, where the player in motion will remain wide outside of the box before the ball is snapped. The play call here is an RPO bubble screen intended for Deebo Samuel, and look at the Packers defense on this play, specifically number 53. Originally he is lined up over Mohamed Sanu, and most likely some type of zone coverage. But with Deebo's glide motion and Deebo stacking on top of Sanu, 53 moves towards the line of scrimmage to now prevent a possible run play. Look at Deebo when he receives the ball. Blocker for this guy and blocker for this guy. A ton of space for Deebo to run through, now with the defender out of position and leading to a huge gain. Now the very next play, what happens? Kittle outside motions down into a split near position. This time, Jimmy hands the ball off to Sermon and pump fakes the bubble screen to Kittle. Look what the linebacker does. He just had a bubble screen go for a big play, so he's going out to guard Kittle. Now see this huge hole in the second level? That is prime real estate for Sermon. He's going to shoot through that and pick up a first down. Back-to-back plays by Shanahan to play off the previous success and counter the defense's assumptions. Later in the game, Shanahan is going to toy with the Packers defense again with some more bubble screen action. However, this time, he's going to pivot off of his previous play calls and have the receivers who typically block run slant routes behind the unsuspecting defenders. Kittle will be running an orbit motion, which is when the player motions behind the quarterback and out wide, often to create separation from the line of scrimmage, typical for bubble screens. As the play begins, Garoppolo performs his pump fake to the bubble screen, and you can see the two linebackers bite on the screen and move closer to Kittle, allowing Juszczyk to get behind the Mike linebacker and open for Garoppolo to fire it in for a completion. Shanahan's ability to acknowledge his own tendencies and pivot off of them is what makes him such a lethal threat when calling plays. That game against the Packers was week 3, and you can see that same play run again in week 12 against the Vikings. The Vikings coaches and players also watch film. They know that the Niners call screen routes on 10% of their plays. It's their 4th highest route design. This linebacker knows what's up. He's watched film. He's trying to jump the route and blow up Mitchell's knees. But just when a defense is expecting one play, Shanahan will come out with a part 2, leaving the defense exposed and able to make a positive gain on the play. Outside of his regular play calls and pre-snap motion trickery, Kyle Shanahan is also one of the best unique play designers in the league, using every aspect of his offense for a single play to gash the defense. In an ESPN article, he said, even when he brings his kids to movie theaters, he brings his iPad if a new play design pops up in his head. He lives and breathes football. Watch this play here against the Packers. What originally looks like a gap run to the left with the right guard and Kittle pulling ends up being an end around to Ayuk. Look at Kittle. He begins his pull, which causes the Packers linebackers to crash the middle, but he ends up cutting back to become a lead block for Ayuk. And look at the lead blockers for him on this play. That guy all the way out there is a lineman. 2 in fact. But somehow a defender is able to get past what looked like an entire entourage and break up the almost touchdown run.
Yeah! What a Oh!
Shanahan learned from that play, and later in the season against the Vikings, he took a different approach to the run blocking scheme. Watch Ayuk and Juszczyk here. Instead of going out to lead block, they perform crack blocks on their assigned men to set the edge for Debo and the pulling lead blockers. Take out the possibility of having someone break up the play early on to allow the lead blockers to do their job. And look at Brunskill here, running with as much swiftness as a lineman may possess, keeping his defender in front of him, clearing the way for Debo to make a huge play. Shanahan won't stop if a play he creates has flaws. He wants to find the solution to make that big play. While Kyle Shanahan has shown to be a great offensive play caller, he was on the hot seat earlier this season after his 2-4 start. It would be strange for a head coach to be on the hot seat not even 3 seasons removed from a Super Bowl berth, but outside of that 2019 season where they went 13-3 and lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Shanahan is 16-32 as a head coach. Now it shouldn't be forgotten that for a large majority of the 2017, 2018, and 2020 seasons, Shanahan didn't have his quarterback Garoppolo due to injuries, as well as a plethora of injuries to his entire team each year. No one questioned Shanahan until this year, where a mostly healthy team that has great players on both sides was not winning games. I would see tweets from 49ers beat writers questioning the future of Shanahan, but it seems that Shanahan was able to flip a switch with his team since they have won 4 out of their last 6 and are back in playoff contention. And with the Niners draft pick of Trey Lance, I believe Shanahan will have his chance to prove his worth with a new quarterback, and if he can become the piece the Niners need to get back to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan was among the few offensive coordinators that have tailored in a new style of modern offense, with an abundance of pre-snap motion and bringing back the zone read offense. He is one of the most creative minds when it comes to the game of football, and he is surely ushering in a new wave of offensive-minded coaches to this league. I appreciate everyone who watched this video to the end. My last video on Mac Jones absolutely blew up, and I'm grateful for everyone who liked and commented on that video. It only made me more motivated to make great content for those who enjoy the details of football. I do have another video in the coming week that will be discussing Jalen Hurts and the question of him being a franchise quarterback for the Eagles. Be sure to subscribe to catch that one later.